Welcome back to the Gotcha Outdoors podcast. I'm Clayton, that's Ben. It's been a minute, so we're back in the lab putting some content together. Took a little bit of a hiatus. It's almost Christmas, so Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everyone out there. And we wanted to do kind of a year-end wrap-up, kind of talk about our experiences this year, kind of why we took our hiatus, and look ahead to next year. So,
a hiatus is a break for those of the uneducated crowd.
So this year, 2023, was a lot of things. It was good, it was bad, it was ugly. Fun, it was ugly, it was frustrating, it was exciting. It was a unique year. Had some new experiences that were new to me, totally new to me. We'll get into it, but we are planning, usually in the past we've done kind of a short-term rollout with our long-form videos on YouTube where we'll have a hunt and then within a month or 6 weeks we'll roll out the hunt video. We decided to do something a little different this year. We're going to roll out a series of videos from all of our hunts 2023 and somebody else's hunts too, so more to come on that. Pretty exciting news after the first of the year we'll share with everyone. But so look for that probably late January, February maybe. We'll start a weekly rollout.
Yeah.
You get to see all of our experiences this year. So before we get into the hunts, kind of the reason we've been MIA for the last couple months, I think this is probably one of the busiest 2-month time spans I've ever had. I think
likewise.
I've seen you once since we were hunting in Colorado. So in September, it's been that crazy.
It's been busy, super busy.
So you started a business, yeah?
Yeah. So I started a new business, a local service business, and I already run a local service business. We started another one. So it's been crazy trying to get all that sorted out and all the stuff that goes along with starting another business. So it's been wild for me, and I've been having to dump a lot of my time and finances into that. So I haven't had the energy or time to get involved in editing up videos, putting content out. So the channel has had to suffer a little bit. Yeah. Short time frame for all that. So
yeah. I mean, you're a plumber, and so you've had your plumbing business you've been on your own for 6 years?
6 years, yeah.
Yeah, and this is a kind of a branch off of that, yeah?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a completely separate entity, but it's a similar industry as water heaters. We're doing only water heaters for this new company, water heater installation and repairs. And that's just going to be the entirety of the company. But
what's it called? What's the name of it?
It's called Water Heater Heroes. Yep.
Nice.
So it's exciting. It's going to be a good thing.
Have you officially launched it, or is it
January 1st?
Okay.
Yeah, is our official launch. So we're getting all the back end together. Our website's getting finished up. All of our social medias. We're starting a YouTube for that too, just to fill content into the website and for customers to, whatever. So, but yeah, that's where my head's been for the last 2 months, just buried in paperwork.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Along with my regular stuff, and then Gotcha Outdoors stuff, and it's been busy.
So yeah, that's been your thing for the last couple months. I started writing a book, so I'm not very far into it. I'm at, I think, 3,500 words as of yesterday. Long way to go. I basically have a short essay
3,500 of
now.
5 million.
Exactly. So, but yeah, I'm kind of researching as I write, so it's a slow process. So yeah, it's been busy, and then of course the normal family work stuff.
Yep, and the holidays are busy for everyone.
Yeah,
and you got kids and events and kids events and all the stuff. Yeah, family obligations, stuff, everything. Yeah. So excuses, lots of good excuses to not be doing stuff for the company.
But after the first of the year, we're gonna get on a normal schedule, or get on a schedule. Period.
Get on a schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the podcast has just been for this first year, which each year will be like a new season for the podcast. So starting in January, it'll be season 2, and this year was just as we had time, we would shoot a podcast.
Yeah.
Next year, we're hoping to get on a regular schedule with it for the first time.
A little organization will go a long way.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll have a regular, what's the word I'm looking for? Interval. Hopefully we'll have a regular interval of podcast release dates, and so we're gonna be getting some new people on the podcast. just branching out, finding different people. If you guys have recommendations, put it in the comments. But there's going to be a few that are going to be that we've already kind of got in the pipeline that are going to be interesting. So that'll be fun doing podcasts. Podcasts are fun. They're always fun, especially with guests.
Let's just go ahead and talk about it.
Okay.
Let's talk about what we're going to be adding to our channel here.
Okay.
So we're adding a new person to the channel. You've seen him before, David Bertram. So we did a hunt with him in January was it this year? Or was it last
2023 January. Yeah.
And that feels like it was
6
2
years ago.
So we did this hunt in Arizona, the archery hunt. And so you can go back and see the video, and Davey, we'd like to call him Davey.
Whether he likes it or not,
Yeah.
that's what we call him.
He'll be
You know?
from henceforth called Davey. So we did that hunt with him, and we've known Davey for a long time.
Yeah, he's been a close family friend since I was a small child.
So he will be officially coming on with Kacha Outdoors as a channel contributor. His specialty is Southern California hunting, which is really cool because we're in Northern California.
Yep.
I've never hunted Southern California.
We don't have any content down there, and there's a lot of you guys that watch and stuff are from Southern California or the middle of the state and hunt in that area. And a lot of our content is just kind of a whole different world away from what's going on in SoCal. So it'll be cool to have. You guys are going to see the dude's putting out some solid stuff.
Yeah,
He's holding it together this year. So it's going to be really exciting. Some awesome deer hunting content from Southern California and some other good stuff. So you guys will be excited to see all that.
And he'll be a regular contributor to the podcast as well. So there'll be a lot of like how-tos, discussions, and all that, experiences from Southern California.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Excited.
Yeah, that's cool. That'll be exciting stuff. So this year, we did that scouting trip to a new area we'd never been. Like same general area here in California for deer hunting, but it was a new area within the general area.
Yeah, same region,
different area. And we did this turn and burn trip. It was crazy. I think we did 11 miles in 24 hours, stayed up all night hiking.
It was brutal.
It was brutal.
One of the most brutal hikes I've ever been on.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't sound like a lot, 11 miles in 24 hours. It's like, no, I can hike 11 miles in 24 hours. Anybody can do that. But this was like, we started at like midnight and then hiked through the night and started glass. We didn't no sleep. We started glassing first thing in the morning, glassed all day and hiked all day around looking for new spots to glass. And then right before dark, we decided, let's get out of here. We saw what we needed to see, so we hiked out. And it was like there's this huge gulch to get through, and it was like a 2,000-foot rise and drop from where we were going. It was a really tough hike. And to boot, a lot of trees had fallen across the trail. So we're on like a cliffside, like shimmying around trees with our backpack, with camp in it. And
Crawling under trees.
yeah, it was crazy.
Crawling.
It was crazy. And all on zero sleep. So that's what made it really challenging. But we had fun, and we saw a lot of good bucks in there.
We did. So we were psyched about archery season because of what we'd seen. However, when we went hunting, we didn't go there.
No. Why did we not go there?
I don't remember. I was just thinking about that.
I think we just chickened out, honestly. We hiked in, and we saw all these bucks in this incredible country, and then we started thinking too much about it, about how tough the hike was.
And I think we convinced ourselves that we had seen just as many quality bucks elsewhere.
Right.
In areas where we were familiar and didn't have to
Which we
climb
have
down a mountain.
in the past.
We have.
Didn't see them this year.
Not as much recently.
Yeah.
I will say that. It has been on a decline.
Yeah.
So we did that scouting trip, and then fast forward to archery season. We're like, choked the good spot. Let's go to the old spot.
Hunting memories instead of deer.
So, okay, with this archery hunt, it's really tough because I'll just fast forward to the end of the hunt. We drove home like
Defeated.
cursing this spot in
Deflated.
our mind. Like, we're never coming back here. We're sick of it. But then after all the dust settled, we started going back and looking at pictures and videos of the bucks we saw. How many bucks did we see?
I don't know, 13 or 15 or something, like shooter bucks, like good, big bucks.
Not forkies. Like,
No.
we're talking quality,
in
big.
one little spot, like last day. This was like a relatively new spot for us. We've never hunted there before. We've drove by it and looked at it, but one little spot on one hill, one morning, we saw, was that five
Five
shooter bucks. like good bucks.
Yeah.
So
The smallest buck we saw, we saw a spike and a fork, but didn't even really get footage of those. We got footage of some bruisers. One of them was super cool. It was a broken off, it was a 3x3. Well, I think it was a 3x3. On the right side, he had a 3-point rack way outside his ears and nothing on the left.
Yeah.
And he was hard horned in August. So I don't know
So
if it
weird.
was a genetic deal, but it was super cool. Yeah. And so we saw, and that was just in that one spot.
Right.
How long did we hunt? 4 days, 5 days?
I don't know. Kind of just many days.
As
It was a tough hunt.
But looking back, so opening
So we
morning-
didn't kill anything
Yeah.
on that hunt.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But looking back, I remember getting up opening morning. We were the only ones out there. There was
Yep.
no other truck at the trailhead.
Yep.
Had the whole place to ourselves. We get up opening morning, and we climb to this basin that we've been to 100 times. And we know that it holds animals, but they're really sensitive in this spot because it's kind of a central location where trails kind of crisscross. And so the first hint of pressure, if you go in the summer before season, you'll see animals there.
Yeah, and they don't really care about you being there either. Like you can see them off in the distance, they'll kind of walk off, whatever. But some like switch flips when it gets close to deer season, and these deer turn into like ninjas.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane.
So, like a pack of rookies, we walked to the edge of this basin. It was me, Ben, and John, and we're being quiet. But it's really quiet first thing in the morning.
First light.
First light. Of course, thermals are going down like a waterfall, and like a bunch of knuckleheads, we went right up to the edge, and we just kind of peeked over, and we're just kind of looking around. 4
Big bucks.
giant bucks. I mean,
Of course, we didn't get any on film, but trust me, at least this big.
and the more I think about it, the bigger they get.
Yeah.
No, but they were
They
big
were
bucks.
all shooters for us. I mean, we're not trophy hunters, but I mean, everyone likes to shoot a better age class of deer, and so something that I would immediately recognize, like that's a shooter. Like it's not a young buck; it's a mature.
You wouldn't hesitate.
Yeah, no, and all of those were that way.
Yeah.
So
They immediately busted. I don't know if they winded us or if they hurt us or both, but they were gone. And I think at first though there was 2 or 3, and we're like, oh man, what are we doing? So we kind of sat down, took our backpacks off, and shortly after we did that, 2 more bucks jumped up a little bit further down the hill and took off. So there was 4 or 5 bucks all
I
bedded.
think there was 5 of them in there.
There was 5. So there was 5 bucks bedded on the side of this basin, on our side of the basin, and we blew them out.
Within 200, 300 yards of us, all of them. And the crazy thing is, after we pressured those bucks, we spent like another 3 days in that area and continually checked back in that area. We glassed our little eyeballs out, and we never turned those bucks up again. They were gone. I mean, we really covered that area.
Yeah, that basin was a ghost town from that moment on.
Yep.
They never came back.
We saw some deer in the next basin over, but not that one.
So yeah, that next basin, we played our cards better. We did. And our game plan was, okay, let's back it up and let's play this like the traditional way, which is watch a buck, bed the buck, and then make your stock. But with blacktails, that's sometimes really, really difficult because of where they bed and because it's
Terrain dependent.
Yeah, because it's not these high alpine basins where they're bedding kind of in the open, or there's one small clump of trees where you know that buck's in there. Like it's just trees everywhere. So they'll disappear in 30 seconds. And that's kind of what happened. We watched this buck or feed on a bush, and then he turned around and walked maybe 50 yards. We never saw him again.
Yep. Just went around the corner and disappeared.
Yep.
That was it.
So it is tough. It is tough. But I look back and I kick myself. And this is kind of what I wanted to get to with like my perspective was I feel like I need to be a better hunter. That was my takeaway from 2023 was a lot of my failures this year was because of me. It wasn't because I didn't see animals.
Or maybe limitations that you put on yourself in your mind.
That could be it too. Or maybe I'm not allowing enough time. My physical fitness isn't good enough. My mental toughness isn't good enough. My skill set needs to improve.
Right.
But I need to be better. The opportunities were there.
So this is I don't want to say an argument or whatever, but it's an age-old discussion. And we were talking about this before the podcast, is that there's 2 factors to this. Yes, I agree with you that the hunters are the limitation on the hunt, right? Obviously, we're doing the hunting, but also, we're just like regular working men, right? We're not, like we have a YouTube channel and stuff, but we're not career hunters. This is not all we do. We have a regular living. We have, families, all this stuff. So we only have so much time to dedicate. We get 1, maybe 2 scouting trips per year, and then, a couple of weeks total hunting. And so, I mean, if you're like a single guy that has no family and has a halfway decent job and time, and you can just go out there and spend 30 days during season hunting, or 20 days or 15 days or whatever throughout the season, you're going to get a lot of intel that we even can't get because we're under time constraints.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's like aligning the moon and the stars to get our schedules all set up to where we can even go. So that's one of our biggest limitations, is just not like when we pressure these deer, or when other hunters pressure these deer, they go somewhere. And we have ideas about where they go, but we don't have the time to go chasing these deer and figure out where they go and set up the cameras and scout 6 or 7 times. Like we don't know. So we're doing our best guesswork and using years of hunting experience to kind of narrow things down. So our learning curve over the years, being family men and having regular jobs, has been a lot longer than someone who's a career hunter or a guide or just someone who has a lot of free time, you know. So
our knowledge it's hard gained.
Right.
It is hard gained. Yeah. And we still have a lot to learn.
Yep.
We do.
Absolutely.
You never finish learning.
Every year we find something about these deer. It's like, how do we not know that? You know, they did this or they did that. So yeah, it's one of those things. I wish I had more time, obviously, but I think as the kids start getting older and they're willing to go on the trips or whatever, it can free up a little bit of time, allow us more time out there. But
as businesses take off and other folks can take care of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We just need, like 1 million more subscribers, and then
it's all your fault.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was my takeaway, was like being better, but that's true. You only have the time you have.
I mean, think about it. I'm a plumber, right? That's my profession. I'm really good at it. Been doing it for most of my life. And before I was an adult, I was a professional at plumbing. So, that's taken me 15 years. How many hours is that? You put out, endless hours. So I'm really, really good at it. If you put someone, and said, hey, you're going to be a plumber, but you only get to practice plumbing a couple weeks out of the year, and I expect you to be a professional plumber after a couple of years. Like, it's not going to work that way. You're not going to know everything you need to know. All the small details, you're going to have to learn them the hard way. So,
I'm the type of person, though, that if I fail at something, I want to know first why I failed and how do I fix it to where I can be successful.
Right.
I want to know those two things. And looking back, I think I can pinpoint the reasons why I failed. And some of them are out of my control. Like, I'm not going to have 20 days to just go out, disappear into the woods. I'm just not. Nope. I can't fix that.
Nope.
But there are things I can fix. So, okay, taking that, let's talk about Colorado.
I don't want to talk about that.
So Colorado, we put in for, what was it, unit 55?
55.
Yeah. The one kind of centered around Gunnison. In fact, that's where I got this coffee mug. But we had 1 elk point, I think. 1 or 2. I
don't know. It was however many. It was a waste. We wasted 1 or 2 elk points.
Another spoiler alert. So we've always dreamed about hunting high country. We've talked about it for years. Before this year, I had never been above 9,000 feet, upper 8s, low 9s, somewhere around there. Hunting, yeah. I think I've been. I don't even know if I've been up there like. That's pretty high.
I think the only time I've ever been higher than that is hiking in Yosemite and places, and get up pretty high. But
that's different.
Ahead. Yeah, it's very different.
So we've always had this dream. We want to do a high country mule deer hunt, like the high basin stuff, archery hunt, and we just want to hunt the high country. It's a new experience. It's a new challenge, and we didn't really dive into it as far as research and like what to expect. At least I didn't. Not that much. A little bit, but not much.
I didn't.
And so I thought, well, I'll just kick up the cardio and I'll be fine. So Gunnison, or the area around Gunnison, Unit 55, it's high country. And so we draw the tag. Unit
Like the
55.
low country there is like 9,000 feet.
Yeah.
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 That's literally low country up there.
And if you know elk, those mountain elk, they're up there.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to go as high as they can go before it's sheep country.
Yeah.
And so that is like, what was that, 12 to 12.5?
Yeah.
12,000 feet to
Yeah.
12.5?
The highest peaks around there are like 13. So
Yeah.
it was, the timber line was like 12 and a half, 12.6, and we were camped at 12.
Yeah, we were camped at 12. So we get there, and we go into this with the expectation of this is a draw unit, and that was the first mistake. Just because it's a draw unit,
Yeah.
and we've talked about it on the channel before with California X zones. Just
Yep.
because it's a draw unit doesn't mean you're going
Right,
to go
exactly.
be tripping over bucks. Like,
Exactly.
it doesn't happen that way. But we're excited. It's elk. We haven't hunted elk in a couple years. So, and it's a big expense. Like, we're going to Colorado, we're packing all our gear, we're taking a week off work. We had 6 or 7 days to hunt.
Yeah, it was like a 9-day trip total.
I think we had 7 days, 6
7
days.
hunting days, 6 hunting days, something like that.
So we get there, and we of course didn't scout, so we're trying to figure it out on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, we got in touch with a guy. Do you remember his name?
I don't even remember his guide service. I'm sorry, dude, if you're watching the video. I apologize.
He was awesome.
He was
though.
very helpful.
He was extremely helpful, and we called up the guide and we said, I think we'd poked around for like a day.
2 days.
2 days.
We
Okay.
burned 2 days hiking around, finding nothing.
Yeah, we'd seen old sign, which we've realized we're really good at finding.
Tons of
old
hikers
sign.
and OHV
Yeah, a
drivers.
lot. Yeah,
Tons of them.
Popular area. And we saw some old sign that was a week or two old, like prior to archery season opening. It should have been peak rut at that point.
Yeah.
And so we called the guide and he said, all right, I don't have any clients right now, or I probably wouldn't be sharing this information, but I would go to, he named like 2 or 3 spots. And so we're like, hey, we really appreciate this. We're going to mention you on the channel, which we'll dig up his name and
We'll put it in there.
We'll put it in the description to this video so you can check him out. He was awesome. I highly recommend, if you're going to get 55, talk to this guy. So we decided, okay, we had a base camp, and the base camp was at 9, wasn't it? Or
It was 9 and some
92?
change.
Yeah. And so I learned with elevation, the higher you go, it's exponentially different.
Oh, yeah. It's not, it's very, like 10 is very different from 9, and 11 is way different from 10.
Yes. So we pinpointed the spot on the map. We had to park the truck at a trailhead, and then we had, I forget, 3-mile hike or something to get where this guy told us to go. So we parked the truck, and as soon as you step out and start moving around, you're like, oh, this is different.
Yeah.
I think we parked the truck at 10.5.
Something like that.
It was over 10. And then we put our packs on. We had like 3 or 4 days of stuff in our packs, food, water, and everything. Well, not water, because we could get water. And we start hiking, and we're climbing, and it was like someone put a clamp on my chest.
Yeah.
And I was like, and it was just so hard to just breathe. And I'm like, I'm used to doing things.
Yeah, we hike a lot and it doesn't bother us.
Yeah,
The country we're used to, we hike all over that place.
Right.
6,000, 7,000 feet, 8,000 feet, no big deal.
Yeah, I mean, you get worn out, but
Yeah.
you don't have breathing issues like that. I had never experienced that in my life.
It's pretty
It's
crazy.
like, I underestimated this.
So the moral of the story is, because you guys can go watch the video, you'll see everything we go through there.
When it comes out.
Yeah, it's going to be a great video. But the moral of the story is we weren't prepared for the altitude, and we had a camera guy, Vince, and Clayton were getting like migraine headaches and like dizziness and all kinds of crazy symptoms, combined with, I mean, all of us were feeling the fatigue, and like you could walk on flat ground or go downhill for 50 feet and you were literally out of breath. Mm-hmm. If you've never hunted, because we're at 12,000 feet.
That's where camp was. Camp was at 12, and we were going up from there.
Right. So it was a whole new experience. So if you're the moral of the story is, if you're gonna hunt high country, be prepared. It can literally be dangerous to your health.
It can kill
if you get mountain sickness, it can kill you. And these guys were starting to get those symptoms, so we ended up hunting another day and then backing down a little bit.
Yeah, what happened to us, like the first thing I noticed was everything swelled. My fingers were like sausages, my face was swollen. Like you press on your skin and it like turns white and it stays white. Like everything was super swollen. And so my joints were hurting. That was the first symptom, like something's weird here. Mm-hmm. Of course, the breathing, right? But then me and Vince was all swollen, his face was all swollen. We had really bad headaches, just throbbing headaches. And then I got nauseated, and then he got nauseated, and we were so sick, like we couldn't eat. So you're hiking around, you're not eating because you're sick to your stomach. It's just a bad deal.
It's a really bad combination.
And like I said, we're not new to hiking or backpacking. We've done this for years. It was the elevation. It just hit so different. But the bummer part about it, the worst part about it all, just the most frustrating thing is that's where the elk were. The only place where the elk were.
Yep.
Literally, as we're hiking in, I mean, I'll give a little spoiler alert with this one. We're hiking up this kind of narrow basin and we're trying to get to the top, and we're at the top is where we're going to camp. And we're within a quarter mile, and we decide to stop and bugle, just for giggles. It was the last 20 minutes of light. And so we rip a bugle, and we get a response. Finally, first response we get. And we turn around, and up the mountain, kind of behind us a little bit, up and around the rim, there's a whole herd of elk.
Yep. Big bull, too. Big herd bull up there.
Bull. And so we're psyched. Like, we're finally in the elk. We found them. And up on that hillside where that herd was, that's where we hunted the next morning. And we were getting responses to our bugles. We had a couple chuckles within 40, 50 yards.
Yeah.
Never did see those
It was
bulls,
heavy timber, so.
Heavy timber. We had a small herd of a couple cows and a couple spikes within 50 yards of us that we called in. It was a lot of fun, but we had to get out because of the elevation. And that was the most frustrating thing. Like, when your body is your limitation, like, you can be successful in the hunt. You found the elk, which is the most challenging part, right? Or normally, but then you have to leave because of elevation.
It was a successful grouse hunt. Let's just say that.
We did smoke a couple of grouse, and those things were delicious too. But yeah, that lesson learned.
So that was 2023 in a nutshell right there. A big nutshell, but a nutshell. It was a struggle fest for us. Davey, on the other hand, in Southern California, was just whacking them and stacking them.
Yeah,
he's gonna have some video. He had a really cool bison hunt this year. You guys will see the video is gonna go up on the channel. That turned out to be quite a unique situation for him. But you'll see that it's I'm not gonna just spoil it, but it's gonna be very interesting. Trust me. And then I mean, he's killed 3 deer. He hasn't. He killed 2, and one of his buddies killed another one. They got all that footage, so they're gonna be uploading some good stuff to the channel coming up on our video drop. But yeah. It was a tough year.
Well, what's your takeaway from rifle season? We haven't talked about rifle season yet.
Yeah, so rifle season, we couldn't align our schedules.
Well, we were in Colorado when rifle season opened.
Right. So, but when we got back from Colorado, we couldn't align our schedules together to get out there at the same time. So I went out and Clayton went out separately, which kind of actually works out better community-wise because we're having more days in the field that way. So I think to get between the two of us, that was like another 6 or 7 days in the field. And it was deader than Elvis Presley out there. There was not, I was out there for 3 days. I didn't see a doe. I don't think I saw a doe, a buck, a bear, nothing in 3 days. And I'm going places that have deer and hunting all kinds of different terrain. I'm just turning and burning and nothing. It was crazy. No fresh sign. Like, they just vanished. So the later it got into rifle season, they went to some areas further down and further away, and we couldn't get access to, like, way too far out or whatever the case is. But yeah, I think it was just tough. It was really, really tough for our rifle season because, a lot of these places in California, let's face it, you're hunting a spot or there's a lot of other guys hunting.
How many rigs did you count driving in?
I didn't count. There was at least a couple dozen that I saw while I was out there for those 3 days, but which may not seem like a lot. But in the same area, one of my buddies hunted opening weekend there, and he said he saw a good number of deer, but he also had like 30 something trucks at the trailhead with him, trailers and horse trailers and all this kind of stuff. So it just, there's a large population of humans out there hunting, and that pushes the deer out ultimately.
If you could go back and do something different for rifle season, what would you have done?
I would have hunted earlier in the season.
Well, given the same time constraints and schedule, what would you have done?
So, I don't know that there's a lot else I could have done. The only thing I could have done is gone to a different spot or different spots.
So if you went to a different spot, would you been more strategic within the area you were, or would you have just gone like deeper, further away?
I would have had one of two strategies, because you got a certain amount of time, right? You got 3 days. So I've got 3 days to hunt. I've either got to, it's hard to want to commit for a 3-day hunt, even in somewhere that you know pretty well. It's like, okay, I'm going to commit all 3 of these days. Well, if you get in there and there's no deer, you're just screwed. Mm-hmm. Like, you got 3 wasted days, and you got to pack in for half a day and pack out for half a day, and you're by yourself, solo hunting. So then if you kill a deer, game on. Maybe you're hustling to get that thing out of there.
Yeah.
So that's always kind of like a daunting thing. So hindsight being 2020, I would have probably just packed in somewhere as far as I could get and said, suck it up, buttercup, this is where the deer are going to be. Because we know the deer are going deeper, further, darker holes, deeper canyons. That's where they hang out when the pressure gets tough, and they don't move a lot. So the 2 things that I would have done, either or, would be pack straight in, don't fool around and move spots and drive to different areas and glass, none of that. Pack straight in, or pick a spot and just glass, and wait for them to come out. Because there's a chance that there's some in areas that are accessible, they're just holding really tight like blacktail do. Mm-hmm. But I think you're going to get a higher population of less pressured deer if you can get past that like 7 to 8 mile mark, get in there, mm-hmm. away from roads and people and all that. So that would have been, I would have either done one of those 2 things if I had to do it over. Obviously, I'm still undecided, but I think that's the only option, really, mm-hmm. is to go deep or stay and just glass recon, just stay there.
And when I went, I saw 1 bear and I think 1 or 2 does, and that was it. And the bear got spooked by coyotes, which I'd never seen that before.
So weird.
Yeah, this bear was just kind of rambling up a hill, and I didn't see. I filmed it through my spotting scope, and I didn't see it, so I went back and watched the video. A pack of 2 or 3 coyotes was coming from the uphill side, just kind of wandering down, and I saw this bear turn and just start jogging down the hill. I wonder, that's weird. There must be a guy up there. I spooked it. And it wasn't. It was a pack of coyotes scooting off the bear. So
apparently those coyotes were bad to the bone.
Yeah.
They were looking for bear, hunting bear just like you. Yeah, so that was that. Went on a little bear hunt after, mm-hmm. I didn't really hunt. I was camping with my boy, and we just kind of took a rifle along just in case we saw something, basically. But
I went back to that spot where I saw that bear, and we hunted it hard for 2 or 3 days, glassed, and there was no deer, there was no bears, there was nothing. Yeah, that area just got, so the weekend I went, the first time when I saw the bear, I think I counted 60 rigs on the way in. Now there's a lot of dirt roads on the way up to that spot, a lot of miles, but 60 rigs.
That's a lot. That's way too many.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yep.
And so if you can find where the deer go, you will forever fill your tag. Every season you'll fill your tag. Because they're habitual. They're going to go. If you go back and watch last year's hunting video, me and John found one of those places. We couldn't hunt it this year because it's an opening morning spot. If you go there 3 days into season, it's going to be a ghost town, I guarantee you. Mm-hmm. But opening morning, it's a funnel. Funnel to somewhere. I don't know where. Yeah. It's a funnel. And they're going to go down that funnel every opening morning.
Yep.
So if you can find those spots, it's gold.
Yeah, and most of the time those spots are just absolute miserable hellholes to get into.
They are, yeah.
That's what makes the deer go there. Mm-hmm. I think that's, we've talked about this many times in the past, but there's always room at the top, right? So, and like that's a term people use in business and life and whatever. There's always room at the top. You're worried about competition. There's always room at the top. Well, the same thing applies to hunting, like deer mm-hmm. or elk or whatever. There's always room further in.
Yeah,
there's the guy who works the hardest and goes the furthest and goes the deepest into the nastiest canyon, he's going to find the deer. So it doesn't matter how many other guys are hunting in the woods. If you can get away from them all and you put the work in and struggle, you're going to find them. Mm-hmm. So it's like, how much are you physically willing to pay to find the deer?
Because even a lot of guys will get swayed by horse outfits. Mm-hmm. But guys are using horses to get where they want to go, not so they can be hardcore hunters and go even further.
Right.
They're going to hunt relatively close to their horses.
Right.
So that's kind of
with skittish blacktail, that's not the greatest strategy. Horses and blacktail don't usually get along.
Yeah.
Those guys clear out.
Horses make a lot more noise than you would think.
Oh, yeah. A horse camp, you can hear them. I mean, you sit on a ridge a mile away, and you can hear a horse camp down there. They're clanging pots and pans. There's horses whinnying.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of chopping wood and stuff going on. And it's like, these guys, there's not a stinking deer within a mile of these guys, you know? So you got to be strategic with horses, but llamas may be a better choice. I don't know.
Well, next year, my cousin is a cowboy up in Oregon. And so he's not an elk guide or anything, but he knows where they live because he's out, you know.
Cowboying.
He's cowboying, yeah, out in the woods.
He's riding cows.
So, but ironically, he told me about, he said, hey, come up here. I have horses. We'll get you out there. I know exactly where. In fact, he told me, yeah, last week I just saw a herd with several bulls, and there was a 7x7 and a 6x6. I'm like, so he got me all fired up, but it's a draw unit, so I needed to get some points. So I put in, for both of us, we got a point, and I think we'll be able to draw this next year. Fingers crossed. So we could have another elk hunt, not at 12,000 feet.
I may or may not be going to that one scheduled, depending. But I'm working on a family hunt. It's going to be really fun. We're trying to go to Wyoming and shoot antelope or deer. We're not 100% decided yet, but there's enough points to do either or in some spots that we have. So, yeah. If you guys, hey, you know what? We need to do this. If you guys have been straggling along in the podcast this long, then maybe you're diehards. So if you know of spots in Wyoming, I'm going to Wyoming for antelope, like 2-point spots. If you got any 2-point spots, that'll hunt good, because you kind of need private land access in Wyoming because it's a big fat checkerboard. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking about the Crazy Woman unit. That's the name of it. Taking my wife there. Love you, honey. So anyway, I'm looking for spots over there. Probably gonna have to pay a land access or something, but that's what we're trying to do. Take the kids along, take the RV, and just have a good old time.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's like the first or second week in October, and then they can check out some nearby towns. We can do some, the fossils and all that kind of stuff.
It'd be tough to do a September hunt and then come home for 5 days and then do a Wyoming road trip, and then
maybe if the new company's doing really well.
I mean, you have school schedules too to worry about.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah,
that really is the problem, is school.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So maybe you can save your point then, and
well, if you smoke a bull this next year in Oregon, then I can go the following year, and then you can go the following year, and then we'll just trade off.
I'll just
whoever's not hunting is filming. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll still do our California hunting. I've been reinvigorated for archery for 2024.
I haven't so much.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be doing most likely a rifle A-zone hunt. Either me or my wife are gonna be I'm trying to convince her to shoot a buck in A-zone this year. I've got a spot. Or I'm gonna possibly, I don't know, I'm thinking about going down with David and
that would be cool.
Doing a rifle hunt down there, Southern California. Spend a few days.
That would be awesome.
That would be a really fun hunt. And then we go to our usual spot. So
for
rifle. Yeah. So I don't know how much archery hunting I'm going to be doing next year, just because the way the chips are falling with the schedule. This last year I did pretty much all archery, at least for the openers and the special hunts. So this next year I'm probably going to be doing mostly all rifle.
And we're stacking points in California. I think we have 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not stacking, but in California, relative to California, we're not stacking. But we're getting to the point where we can start seriously considering.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Those.
Hey, people weigh in on this. What do you think if you had 6 points? And some of you guys probably have way more points than that. But say if you're in a position, you got 6 points to burn, what unit are you applying for?
Yeah, good question.
What unit would you go for? If you feel obliged to answer that question on the interwebs. But I don't know. We're trying to figure out if there's somewhere we want to go, scout out, see if, we went to X6A or something recently.
X7A.
X6B, 7A.
And X6A, I think. Something like that.
Anyway, it was garbage. So
it was.
We scouted it. It was pretty rough. The populations are down. The fire messed stuff up. It's kind of a rough deal. But I don't know. I've been thinking about X8. X8's pretty solid. Not like a crazy unit, but there's a good population of deer there and stuff. So I don't know. Weigh in. What do you guys think?
I also want to go hunt C-zone again. Maybe it's nostalgic, but I've talked about it on the podcast.
It's nostalgic.
It's yeah. I grew up hunting C-zone. I know the area pretty well. It got hammered by the Dixie Fire. It really did. So I don't know how much of it is the same.
And it's still a human zoo out there too during rifle season.
I'd like to hunt archery, I think.
That'd be better.
I think a
lot of guys do tree stands and stuff up there.
They do, yeah.
Pretty successful.
There's a lot of migration in C-zone.
Right.
So
I was thinking about that too, is doing backpack hunts. You could take a tree saddle in, because it's just like harness. It's really lightweight. You got to hang from a saddle all day, but they make them pretty comfortable, especially if you got footholds. And it's fairly lightweight. Or if you just pack in a tree stand during scouting and hide it somewhere. I mean, there are some of these spots that we're archery hunting where you set up a tree stand right above and just play them like whitetail, right above a spot where they walk. It's just patience, man. Us Western hunters, we don't like waiting around for nothing, I want to be doing something. I want to be glassing or hiking or something, I don't want to sit in a tree stand and wait.
Well, we've been going up to the C-zones and like just camping in the off-season, family camping trips in like late June, early July. And there's a spot I like to take the kids because I know there's always going to be deer. And they like to see the deer. And you went last time, and we drove down that road. What was it?
Deer everywhere.
I think we counted 30 does on a 5-mile strip of road.
Yeah. Where are the bucks?
The bucks weren't there. There was 0 bucks.
They were,
but they're going to be
was
somewhere
uphill
around
of that.
there.
That's where they were.
They're going to be somewhere around there. So maybe we'll see. Got a lot to figure out for next year.
So we don't know what's going on next year. Maybe some things, maybe some other things. It'll be fun.
Yeah, and we talked about our product development on one of the podcasts over this year, and we're still working on that. We hit a couple of roadblocks. We thought we had a deal in place with a developer, and it kind of fell through. They weren't able to deliver the design we wanted. So we're still working on that.
Hey, if anyone's got like an extra $20,000. I mean, it's worth asking, right? And you want to give it to us, we'll be willing to take it. We're trying to develop a product over here.
Oh man, we're actively working on getting this product to market. In fact, we set kind of a goal for ourselves to get the prototype done by like mid-January. So time crunch, and we're hoping to hit at least one of the major trade shows coming up. And connect with folks about it. So we're excited about that. That's still happening. We're still working on it.
Yeah, you guys will have to hang in there. Once we launch this product, we need everyone to buy it.
Yeah, if you haven't used it before, it could very well be a game changer for you.
Oh, for sure.
So
for sure, it's gonna be a game changer for a lot of guys. I think it's super simple and effective, and it's not super spendy. I mean, you guys are gonna like it.
Yeah.
Like all the clues. You're not going to figure it out, trust me. Once we launch it, it'll be like, oh.
Yeah. Well, cool. I think that wraps up 2023. Not a lot of exciting stuff. Almost got it done on a bear. I did get it done on a bear, sadly.
That's in story for another day.
Yeah.
Story for the video. Wait to be tuned into the video. That doesn't make sense. Tune into the video.
Yeah, you'll see
what
when
happens.
it drops.
Yeah. Some wild adventures. That was a wild whole sequence of events there. I'll never forget that.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
That's a story worth retelling
at
some point.
David's holding it down this year. He's got some good content for you guys, some kill shots, some fun stuff going on.
We're just shoving everything on David.
Yeah.
Take it away, David.
but ultimately we got, like Clayton said, into January, you guys are going to start seeing videos drop. We're going to try to put them out sequentially, like one a week or something.
Yeah.
For several weeks, and there will be some good videos in there, some good shots, some good
even
kills.
on the hunts we did, where we're kind of griping about it, but it was fun.
Yeah,
we learned a lot.
There's some great content.
I think this year, this is a silver lining. This archery season, we saw more bucks than we ever have during an archery season.
Yeah, I think
quality
that's true.
Bucks, really good bucks, and we got a lot of them on film. So you can look forward to that. It was really cool to see.
Yep. And then we'll drop you guys the coordinates of where we were at and just go out there.
Yeah.
Psych.
Yeah. Just keep scrolling down. You'll see them.
Directly after that hunt, like the day after that hunt, we would literally would have posted those coordinates. We were so ticked off with our hunt.
That's the truth, man.
It was tough.
Yeah.
But don't get discouraged. I mean, it's cool if when you hunt and you don't kill anything, just, which you don't really have any choice, step back and take some time after season, and then think about, just think about your hunt. Think about what you did, what you didn't do. Compare it to some other people that, if you don't have a lot of experience, compare it to some people you've seen on YouTube or hunting shows, and just try to think through, like, what did I do that didn't work out? What could I have done differently? What about this location didn't work, or this area, and just think through it.
Yeah,
It'll make you better for next year.
Why did you fail, and how can you fix it?
Yeah.
But and the moral of the story here is, like, we've been doing this a long time, and we post how-to videos, how to hunt, how to scout, and we still.
Yeah, we got our tail ends handed to us this year.
It still happens
in California, and Colorado.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, we just got the whooping put on us by the old Great Outdoors. So
and that's the beauty of it, though.
The thing is, we don't, up to this point, we haven't really. I mean, we haven't hunted private lands. We haven't taken, to any real extent. We haven't taken, gone with a guide or had, a local connection at a spot where there's a bunch of deer and someone knows what's going on. Like, we just go and figure it out.
Yeah,
so,
always.
So for a lot of you guys, I kill a deer there every year and whatever. And that's fine. That's great. Congratulations. We usually kill deer every year too. I mean, there hasn't been a year, and I can't even count how many years that we didn't kill deer or bears or both, really.
Yeah.
But this year it didn't work out for us. And, we were looking into new spots. We were, and that's just how hunting is. Yeah. Sometimes it's going to work out and sometimes it's not. And you learn from it and move on. And
to a degree, it's the great equalizer.
Yeah.
You could be rich or poor. It doesn't matter. You get out in the woods.
If you hunt in public lands, unfettered public lands that don't have, feed or
without a guide.
Yeah, you're not baiting your deer like that one guy on Instagram that shot that great big buck. You're not doing that kind of thing. Then yeah, it's a tough deal, man. Ultimately, it comes down to you and that animal, and especially if you're archery hunting, you got to get in the red zone. I mean, it's tough. Archery is tough. Anything inside of 80, 70 yards on a blacktail, congratulations.
Yeah, you got it done. Yeah.
Yep.
And one more note, we got some amazing feedback, like we talked about on the bear hunt. We talked about doing a bear hunt.
Oh yeah.
You, so
a subscriber bear hunt.
So we are narrowing in on how we're going to do this thing, and we would prefer to do an archery hunt, I think, right?
Yeah.
They're a lot less pressured.
Yeah, and the archery, we have believe it or not, you probably have a little bit of a higher success rate archery hunting bears, and that just boils down to how we hunt them and where they're located at that time. So, I think if we may end up doing a subscriber archery bear hunt, and if you don't have archery, capabilities or whatever, or don't have a bow or whatever, and you're not willing to get one, may not be the hunt for you. Maybe just have to.
But that's not definite. We're still figuring it out. I guess if we could kind of base it on who wins, we could do something like that. We're narrowing in on it though, but we're planning on it being in 2024. And
we could always just say, hey, if you're an archery hunter, and you're interested in this, we can put like a sticker or something on the website and say, buy the sticker and it enters you, or buy something not super expensive that's not cost prohibitive for people.
Yeah.
That way it's just kind of like an entry queue that we know for sure, hey, I hunt proficient with a bow and I'm interested in this, rather than just anyone and then filtering through people that are like, I can't do that.
Or a really cool T-shirt, like a unique archery bear hunting. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But that's kind of where we're headed with it, and I think it'd be really fun.
Yeah.
So
it'll be a blast.
It's not a guided trip. You're just coming with us. You can get your own tag. We're not guides. So
right.
Make that
no,
clear.
we're not guides. We're not licensed guides.
We'll take you to where we know there's bears. We've killed bears, and
we'll just be hunting together, pretty much.
We'll be hunting together. So
we'll help you get close and all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, it'll be a good time.
We'll film and blow the fawn and distress call.
Yeah.
And you shoot. Yeah. So, yeah. All right.
Cool.
Well, that was fun. We're looking forward to kind of relaunching things in 2024. You'll see more content, more long forms, more scouting videos, hopefully some fishing this year. I miss fishing.
Hey, you know what? Something I meant to ask, and probably everyone's clicked off the video by this point, but if you're still here, your input is greatly valued. What type of off-season content you guys want to see?
Hey, good question.
Is there something particular? Would you rather have tip videos? Would you rather have like what we're doing in the off-season, hunting, fishing, outdoors-wise? What do you want to see in the off-season? You know, hit us up. Let us know. Bird hunting, whatever, because we do some other stuff.
So maybe some training, like off-season training, because we work on that every year. And I know we've had questions about it. So, yeah, maybe all the above. Yeah. What do you want to see? What do you want us to do? We're puppets on a string, so tell us. All right, well, thanks for tuning in. That was a fun little chat, and we'll see you next year.
First of the year with David, probably. We need to do an entry podcast.
We'll do that. So
catch us on the next podcast. Thanks for coming along. Like, subscribe, share the video to your friends, especially if they're archery hunters that want to kill a bear.
All right, we'll see you next time.